Welcome to the Truman Charities podcast, a community of caring. I am Jamie Truman, your host. I'm one of the co-founders of Truman Charities. Our organization has raised over $1 million for several different charities as we share our message of helping others and paying it forward. We plan to continue to educate our audience on the culture of giving. On this podcast, I will interview fellow charity founders, volunteers, sponsors, and other people in the community who will share their stories. You will hear and be inspired by their selflessness and passion for helping others. Welcome to another episode of A Community of Caring. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast for your chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card and my favorite gratitude journal. Please screenshot your review before you hit submit and send it to me via Facebook at Truman Charities or Instagram at Jamie_Truman Charities. Now, let me introduce my guests today. I have two. First, I have Alan Schulman. He is the Employee Benefits Consultant and President of Insurance Benefits and Advisors for 35 plus years and the co-chair of the Purple Tea Tournament. And we have Lynn Culver, and she's also the co-chair of the Purple Tea Tournament. Thank you guys for being on today. How are you?
Great, and thank you, Jamie.
Good. Well, I'm so glad that you guys took the time to talk to us today because you have some really great stuff going on that I'm sure the listeners are going to be so excited to learn about. So, Lynn, I want to talk to you first. Before we get into the Purple Tea Tournament, can you explain to our listeners what is Metro Bethesda Rotary?
Well, the Metro Bethesda Rotary is one of many Rotaries that exist both in the United States and across the world. And I think about it as a service organization. And I look at our primary focus is giving back to the community, helping others. But it also really, it's about camaraderie with the members. But I think about our main mission as giving back to our community and helping others.
Now, what does it mean to be a Rotarian?
Well, it means that you, I guess, adhere to a certain set of values. And those values are really about thinking about others, being honest. And there's a 4-way test that we have, which I won't go into all of that. But one of the tenets of the 4-way test is, does it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it fair to all concerned? And so we live by those kinds of, I guess, morals and ethics. Maybe that's the best way to describe it.
I love that. Now, what drew you to want to be a Rotarian?
Well, I first joined Rotary in State College, PA, and my kids were peeling off into college, and I missed doing service kinds of things with their sports activities. And I found Rotary. And I went to a couple of meetings and found a great group of people who really cared about giving back. And I thought, this is a great service organization. And that was what really affected me. And then I just had great friends in that group as well. So that's it.
Now, Alan, I have to ask you the same question. Now, what drew you to want to become a Rotarian as well?
Picking up where Lynn left off, I would encourage anyone listening to this podcast we're going to talk about the Purple Tea, but to go to Rotary International. As Lynn said, we're everywhere, 220 countries, 1.2 million Rotarians. That was part of the draw, as we are credited with eradicating polio in this world. There's 2 or 3 cases left, and that's because of Rotary volunteers going into the remote corners of the world and getting people vaccinated. So that was a big thing. Truman Charities is local, and Rotary's local because we're the Bethesda Metro chapter. So we do things together, as you know, and that's what's great about Rotary, because you belong to the Bethesda Metro chapter, which is the best one in the world, by the way, and you get to do things in your backyard. You get to do things locally. You get to take dictionaries and feed kids in our local schools, and you're part of a worldwide thing like polio. So as Lynn said, there's a 4-way test. Rotary has a phenomenal mission. So everything Lynn said was part of that for me. Connections, business connections, other professional people, something that really is a worldwide organization that is just out there to do good.
Wow.
I just wanted to be part of it.
Very incredible. Now, let's get a little bit into the Purple Tea Tournament. What exactly is it?
The Purple Tea Tournament, which this year we're calling sort of an event because we're having other activities, because we're realizing our volunteers, which are for everyone at the Rotary Club, 72 people, everybody comes out and helps. And then all the golfers, as we all know, go out to play golf. So this year there's going to be a number of events where the volunteers, instead of sitting around getting on their communication devices and doing business, can socialize and interact and do things like corn toss on the lawn at the golf course. So the event started with a member of ours named Ed Kim, who wanted to raise more money for, number one, disabled veterans, because we all know how important our military is, and also to raise more money for our own foundation that we give to local charities and others around the world. So it's really a two-pronged approach to benefit us, which benefits everyone, and to directly benefit disabled veterans who come out to play and receive the proceeds of what we raise. So it is just a phenomenal event and just a lot of fun.
Now, where is the Purple Tea Tournament located?
We have always been and continue to be at Whiskey Creek in Iamsville, Maryland. And strange word, and anybody listening, it's IJAMSVILLE, a very well-known course, Whiskey Creek. They take great care of us. So that is where it will be, September 23rd, 2021.
Now, can you give some insight on what the tournament experience is like through the eyes of one of your golfers?
I wrote down some notes on that because there's so much. From the beginning, when you get there, again, Lynn mentioned earlier the camaraderie, everybody just being around everybody, interacting, everyone hollering at registration, doing this and doing that, people picking up different goodies for the golf game. And then once you get out on the course, of course, there's a speech before we go out from probably our president and someone else. We will be singing the national anthem. And my understanding this year is that Lynn has twisted the arms of 3 Rotarians to sing the national anthem. So that in itself will be
That's exciting.
Then you get out on the course and there's a lot of things to do. One of the holes, sponsored by Truman Charities, is an RBC. Well, is the golf cannon. I don't know if anyone's ever done it, but basically it's a bazooka, it shoots a golf ball, and it gets it on the green for the foursome. A great event.
Oh, that's so fun.
The other thing, that's fun out there is we have a vet from the SMGA that is a good golfer, and what he or she does is goes to one of the holes and hits their ball onto the green on a par 3. Then the foursome gets to bet or contribute to charity. I shouldn't say bet against the vet that they can make a better shot. So that again is a lot of fun. There's a raffle, all sorts of raffles. There's silent auctions that are up and running now. So from getting there for breakfast, listening to the presentations, listening to the national anthem, 144 people taking off on their golf course, carts with veterans mixed in with Rotarians and other players, to picking up your lunch at the turn, to continue to play, to coming back in for the awards and the dinner, and of course some drinks. It is just a day from the moment you step out of your car in the parking lot until you leave. It's a feel-good day for just everybody and raises a lot of money for good causes and our veterans.
Now, is the registration closed for golfers?
It is closed for golfers, yes. However, we would love more sponsorships.
Perfect.
Anybody listening, there's a number of $1,500 sponsorships available. But if you just want to honor a vet or say thank you, Bethesda Metro, or one of our committee chairpersons who has a favorite charity did a $1,500 donation for sponsorship. So there will be a big sign out there thanking the charity that they're part of. And for $250, we have what's called hole sponsors, where on the tee box is where a golfer starts the hole. You can have a sign with your company logo or literally anything you desire. So that is still very much available.
Perfect. So if I'm interested in, I'm a listener and I really want to be a sponsor because this is a fabulous event, How can I become a sponsor? Where do I go?
I will send you the URL. You can go, though, I believe you can Google Purple Tea, Metro Bethesda Rotary 2021, or just Google or go on the web to Metro Bethesda Rotary. That'll bring up our website, and on there under activities, you can click Purple Tea.
Perfect. All right. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit, Lynn, about some of the one of the organizations. But before we talk about that, I wanted to ask you, how does Rotary decide which organizations to support for the Purple Tea Tournament?
Well, I would go back to one of the things that Alan said. The founder, I guess, of this golf tournament, Ed Kim, had a particular interest in supporting veterans. And so it really started there. And throughout the past 15 years, we have always supported veterans. And the committee helps to select the two organizations, the Purple Tea Golf Committee. And those are the two organizations that we have selected for this year. So they will receive part of the proceeds, and the rest of the proceeds will go to the foundation, and they will select other local community organizations for the funds.
Now, I'm really excited about the two organizations that you guys picked this year because I absolutely love them. So I'm really excited to talk about the Salute Military Golf Association first. So Lynn, can you tell us a little bit about them? What is their mission?
So they have a really interesting mission, and they provide what's called rehabilitative golf programs, experiences, and family inclusive golf opportunities. And they do that for the post 9/11 wounded war veterans in an effort to really improve their quality of life. It is eligible veterans with service members, and they are mostly wounded or injured. Sometimes those things include PTSD or traumatic brain injury. There's a variety of injuries that they would include, but it's really about circling them back into a community of golfers that will help in their rehabilitative mission.
Now, what is their Warrior Golf Clinics? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The Warrior Golf Clinics are held at over 25 golf courses and administered by the 7 chapters. So the SMGA here is one of the 7 chapters across the country, and they have an 8-week program of instruction by a PGA Class A professional. The clinic program is structured to challenge any golfer, whether a beginner or a single-digit handicap. The social interaction and the networking opportunities really help those golfers. And that kind of activity in golf, and I'm not a golfer, but it can be, just unmatched, and it provides a vehicle for integration back into the community.
Wow. Now, can you tell us a little bit about their American Golf Program?
Well, the American Golf Program affords the participation in the SMGA to wounded veterans who are not located within a close proximity to one of our clinic locations. They match the 9/11 wounded warriors with a PGA of America professional familiar with teaching adaptive golf. So if you think about it, many of these golfers have an arm missing or a leg missing or something which is a disability. And so they have a specialized program that helps them in every aspect of the game. And it's a custom designed program. And they give them a set of custom clubs to any veteran that actually competes in the program. So it's a wonderful organization.
And I absolutely love that they make sure that no one's left behind. So if there's any veteran that needs help, that they definitely are able to help them. Now, on that, if there is a 9/11 wounded veteran that's interested in these services, how would they go about it?
They have a website. It's, smga.org, and they can contact, there's all kinds of contacts within that website that they can reach out to someone.
Perfect. Now, have you had the pleasure of meeting any of these veterans?
I have volunteered at this event for probably 5 years, and each year I meet somebody else. But it's a pleasure. They all are happy to be there. They are happy to interface with anybody who's there. They're willing oftentimes to talk about their experiences and how much the SMGA has meant to them. And there are typically, as Alan mentioned, at least two, sometimes three, that actually come and volunteer with us. And they will be at a hole to interface with all the golfers that come by. And it's just a lot of fun.
Wow. Now, if someone's interested in donating or volunteering for the SMGA, where would they go?
So they would also be able to, if they want to join or volunteer or give, I would recommend they go to the smga.org website. That would be probably the best thing to do.
Great. Now, if any of the listeners are really excited to follow SMGA, can you tell us all their social media handles so the listeners can follow all the amazing work that they are up to?
Sure. Facebook.com/SMGA Warrior Golf is their Facebook. Twitter.com, the SMGA Warrior Golf. Instagram.com, SMGA Warrior Golf. All of those, they are pretty able to take anybody who would want to give or participate.
Fantastic. Now, Alan, I want to talk to you a little bit about the second organization that you guys will be supporting during the Purple Tea Tournament. Can we talk a little bit about Reuniting After War? What is this organization and what is their mission?
Reuniting After War their mission is to bring together the brave men and women who have served together. What they want to do is they provide an opportunity through regional meetings for these people to reconnect. Because as we all know that when so many of our vets come home, they're just lost. And it's a mental toll. And what, of course, Reunite After War wants to do is lessen that mental toll with emotional support and reduce the disconnected feelings that veterans are having when they come home to civilian life after a deployment. So that is the focus of Reunite After War. And what is nice about Reunite After War is it's all of the United States, because people can serve together, but they can live at opposite ends of our country and limited means to reconnect. And they do this with all expenses paid for these veterans. So it really allows the vets an opportunity.
Now, where do the reunions take place?
They take place in Millie Lakes, which is a lake in Minnesota. That's all I know is, again, it's Millie Lake in Minnesota, and I know that it's all expenses paid, which of course is important.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
If you're a veteran and you're looking to reconnect, what is the process for that?
They can fill out an application, and the URL or website is reunitingafterwar.org, because of course they're a nonprofit, and /application. And it should bring them to an application.
Perfect. Now, I think the listeners would love to hear this. Can you share with us one of their reuniting stories?
Our main sponsor of the event, who is working with Ed Kim, shared with us one of his own stories because he's part of this organization. And he said it's sort of goosebump material because they maybe have not seen each other. They haven't seen each other, let's assume, since they came back. Because maybe one came back to Seattle, Washington, and the other one came back to Florida. They've maybe corresponded, they've maybe texted, they've not seen each other. And now they're walking into a room where they see each other and they're dressed maybe like you and I are today, instead of with 100 pounds of equipment, fearing for their lives. He said, so it's a goosebump event, and he said it stays with you, and you leave it realizing that there's what they did had a reason, no matter how they feel politically. So myself not being able to be part of it, I can only again say, as Blake Wilson, RJ, shared with us, it's a surreal experience for them. And certainly we all would hope that if it prevents one veteran from having mental breakdowns, It's just worth it, he said. And of course, after you go there and do see everyone, he said it better helps everyone stay more in touch because you've now not connected, but you've reconnected. And that's why it's really called Reuniting After War.
Wow, I really love that. It's so touching. They're just building a community. And I love that. Now, for our listeners that would like to help this organization, how can they do that?
They, again, can go to the website and donate.
Perfect. Easy.
And offer up, I imagine, anything else that they certainly can for disabled vets, because we all know there's unfortunately a lot of families in America that have lost vets. So if they want to give back to the vets that are still with us, this is a great way to do it.
Now, I want the listeners to know also the social media handles so they can follow them online. Can you let the listeners know?
Yeah, they are on the social medias of LinkedIn, and I'm not sure if they're on Facebook. But again, I don't see all my notes, but I would just fall back and say their website would have that.
Perfect.
One thing I didn't get the research.
No
Sorry.
worries. I have to ask you this question. What has been your most enjoyable experience since joining Rotary?
Oh, boy.
I know, the hard one.
Yeah. I know we want to be brief. That could be a whole podcast. The greatest parts of Rotary are sitting at a breakfast meeting with everyone. Of course, we've been on Zoom, and our first in-person real breakfast meeting is this coming Thursday, tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring proof of vaccination. But back to answering your question. From the time I joined the club, which is about 8 years now, I keep saying yes to whatever they ask me, as in co-chairing Purple Tea with Lynn, who I think both of us will say it's an unbelievable event, and it has certainly taken two of us to do it as we're new to chairing the event. So that's a great thing to realize what we're doing for the members, to go to breakfast and see everyone and to realize they're all your friends and they all have your back. No matter what you're doing, to realize that we do this thing called Happy Bucks, where everybody go around the room and give a couple bucks to say something you're happy for, and to just listen to everybody give a 2-minute thing of what's happening in their life, a birth of a grandchild, a marriage, my daughter getting her PhD. And again, that's just for an hour and a half. It's great, great, great. Then when you get to see all of us down at a creek with gloves on and bags, cleaning up a creek in Bethesda because it's full of garbage. And another one of our Rotarians who always gives up his house and his wife's, that's down, not the Eastern Shores, before Annapolis, on one of the bays. And almost all the Rotarians come and strongly encouraged with every social thing with Rotary is bring your family. And everybody gets to hang out, real relaxed for the whole entire day, eat, drink, and play volleyball, go boating, whatever. So Rotary, again, the interactions are innumerous. They're constantly going on. And I believe we've 1 or 2 couples in Rotary that the husband and wife joined because they've gotten so, I guess, curious or interested or gotten to know the Rotarians so well. They're like, well, I want to be part of the group now, not just your spouse or your significant other. So they've joined, and adult children come to the meetings. So again, never flailing for words, but to try and, I used to use the word when people asked about Metro Bethesda Rotary. Tell us a little about it. The word I used to use when you're talking to a prospective member, which is a word that we don't want to use anymore, but the one word I used to use to describe Bethesda Metro Rotary is we are infectious. That as soon as you meet us, boom, we're going to get into you and you just keep coming back for more. Of course, these days, we don't want to use that word, right. Infectious. Who would have ever thought? So I'm very careful with it, as I'm the chairman this year of the membership committee, because it's a great thing to do with Rotary is to watch new people come in and we assign them mentors. So again, I'm going to be quiet, but from A to Z, there is something at Rotary for a retired person, a business person, and their entire family.
Well, Lynn, I have to ask you the same question. What has been your most enjoyable experience since joining Rotary?
I'm not sure I can add much to what Alan said. It's really a great experience. I guess, though, I've been involved in many of the service opportunities, which I think you build goodwill and better friendships actually through those. And that's what's been very meaningful to me. It was probably back in the fall, and this is one of my favorite things that we did in the fall to help with COVID. And the Metro Bethesda Chevy Chase squad, they do why can't I think of this? But they run the ambulances. And we took their facility there. And one of the churches had done a lot of preparation for food. And we packed bags and bags and bags of food. And one by one, the cars lined up and they would come through this line. And we could hand these boxes to them, and they were so thankful. And it was a way for us to give back to people who were really suffering from, COVID. And it was, just you leave those things that you do on a volunteer basis. And there were many of those kinds of things that I could point to that we did as an organization that affected me in a lot of different ways. And that's part of actually why I would join and rejoin Rotary, and the camaraderie and what we do, I think, is just very special.
Now, after listening to you and Alan, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are like, okay, now I want to join Metro Bethesda Rotary. How do they go about it?
We have a website, and it's pretty easy to find. It's metrobethesdarotary.org. We have a Facebook page, which is Metro Bethesda Rotary Club. And we also have Instagram, which is Metro Bethesda _Rotary. And if any of those people want to review, but on the website, you would find clicking in people's names, and you can click in and say, I'm interested. You can review all of the things that we do. And I think someone Alan from the membership committee or anybody really could return a phone call. And it is an easy process. It's an application. And I don't think we've turned anybody down in most of the time that I've been a Rotarian, as long as they, kind of feel the same way we do about service.
So I know a lot of our listeners are not in Montgomery County. So how can someone become a Rotarian if they're not in the Bethesda area?
So that's a really interesting question, because we have a couple of members, and it could be more than that, who are actually members, and they've been joining us via Zoom. And they don't have the same ability to help us in our community, but they participate in different ways, and they give, and they are involved. Each week we have a speaker. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I think meetings on a weekly basis have also knitted people together in a different way, both socially, but also the speakers that we typically have are almost sometimes business oriented. They sometimes bring in doctors that talk about different things that are happening in the community and research that's going on. And so people sometimes like to join just for those particular things that we do on a weekly basis. So I think they can, again, go to the website, ask for information, and they could join our club, or there's a way to look at, you can, click for all Rotary clubs and look at where you live. If you live in, North Carolina or San Diego, California, there are Rotary clubs everywhere.
Oh, that's fantastic. I was going to mention my husband is part of the Metro Bethesda Rotary, and he texts me all the time and tells me about the speakers, and I get so jealous when I'm home with the kids because I want to be there. You guys have the most amazing speakers, and he learns so much, and so do I through him, through Rotary. And I'm so happy that you guys took the time to talk to us. I love everything that you guys do in your organization, and I absolutely love this Purple Tea Tournament and the two organizations that you guys are supporting this year. So I'm so happy that all the listeners got to learn all about this. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Lynn, so much for taking the time again to speak with us. And I want to thank all of the listeners for tuning into another episode of A Community of Caring. Until next time, everyone. If you would like to learn more about our organization, please follow us on Facebook at Truman Charities or Instagram at Jamie_Truman Charities, or check out our website, trumancharities.com. I hope you enjoyed listening and hearing stories of selflessness and caring. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.